Okay, welcome back, U.S. Virgin Islands, USVI International Chess, and U.S. Virgin Islands International Chess. Guys, and we are back to the playlist. The 2022 44th Olympiad Chennai, the ISV national team, has been there now competing, and we are showing another game in this catalog of videos, guys, and this game was David. We're going back to David Conhoff, who is picking up his second win here against Comoros. Comoros is a country located in East Africa. It is considered to be an Arab country and one of the only Arab countries completely in the southern hemisphere. Okay. In this game, David had the black pieces, okay, and his opponent, who I couldn't find the rating, but David played a very solid game here. Let's get right to this Italian game. So far, guys, in the campaign, we have seen the French defense. We have seen the King's Indian attack, referring to openings that we've seen so far in the campaign, that is. We've seen modern defense by Connor. Connor has masterfully demonstrated his techniques in the modern variations and the hyper-modern attacks against the English opening, against D4 openings. And we have seen, as well as the French defense, the Indian attack. Now we're seeing the Italian game for the first time in this tournament, played by ISV. So knight to c3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5 or bishop to c4. So David's opponent goes for bishop to c4, and David goes for bishop to c5. So we have a normal Italian game on the board. First time, like we talked about just a moment ago, h6, bishop b3, bishop b3. So David's opponent goes for this line, captures. Now f takes on e3. And after a knight to f6, continuing development on the king side, knight to c3, continuing for white as well. And now d6, opening up the c8 and h3 diagonal, of course, typical in these lines. And we see how white has double pawns there on the e-file, guys, so David's going to try to probably expose that as much as he can. Let's see what David had prepared in these later lines. We saw a3 from Nadim. a3. And now knight a5. So David wants to do something about this bishop. His opponent goes for just b4. Connor doesn't hesitate, and now there's double pawns on the c-file and the e-file. So this is what David was going after, and I like this a lot. After d captures on c4. Guys, David's just going to castle here in the short. Knight to d2, rerouting that f3 knight. So that horse is going to d2 now. Bishop to e6 played by David, so this is a nice move. I like all his continuations. It's almost as if David's up a half a tempo during all of this. Knight to d5. First we see knight takes on e4, guys. David goes for this nice tactic. The engine doesn't like knight captures on e4, but David likes knight captures on e4, right? So let's go for this. Knight captures on e4, knight captures on e4, David initiating the exchange. With the special move, guys, here, queen to h4, and that comes with a check to the white king. So if you guys didn't understand that line, just pause the video or rewind it and take a look at that tactic that David came up with in this normal Italian game. He's saying, well, I can give up the knight on e4 here and then take this knight later after this check to the white king. So it is a temporary sacrifice, queen h4 check, as it does. Very lovely by David, too, if I might add. It's a very attractive line. I love this line. I've never gotten to play it myself, but it's actually happened to me again as well, and it's a very decent, well-known trick. Knight to f2 now. David's opponent saying, well, I could block the check, right? But then David goes for queen captures on c4, right? Queen to d3, sort of, stopping what's going on, right? But then bishop d5, queen c4, bishop c4, guys, and black is 2 pawns to the good here. And I don't think David should have any problems given the experienced player that he is in this position, even after move 16. The game continued after bishop to c4 with c3. And like I said, Yeah, f5 is perfect. g3. These are good moves, all played by David. And he's going to win this game after just about 15 moves or so. So let's show what happened in the game for move's sake and for educational purposes. We've already understood David's result here in this game, just given the move so far in the opening. Let's go now for rook from f2, e8, and king to d2. A d5 played by David, claiming more space in the center. Rook from a to e1, and after rook from a to e1, king to f8, played by David, and g4, g6, h4, h5, gh5, gh5, rook from h to g1, now getting on the open file, maybe looking to attack that black king that just went into outer space and is now back on the homey f8 square. Good. Rook from h to g1, now king to f7, king to f7 one time, after rook h to g1, and now knight h3. d4 by David, c captures on d4, e captures on d4, and knight to g5 check. A little intermittent move here. King to e7, best square, and now e captures. No, we saw after king e7, yes, e captures on d4, king d6, that's fine. Okay, that was a discovered check. Nice move by David's opponent. King to d6, check again with knight f7. Okay, and let's find out why that's a blunder here, guys. Okay, maybe or maybe not. David, his opponent that is, did not notice that the bishop was still chilling on c5 and had that f7 square covered. So bishop takes on f7, and that is move 30. Now, most of us probably would stop play at this point, but with rook to g5, the game continued, and David's opponent did not admit defeat here just yet, despite giving up a minor piece for no compensation. Like we mentioned, guys, just a clear blunder. Okay, so rook to g5, and somewhere along the line a5 was played, and I think I missed that. So black played a4 somewhere. I'm looking at my notes here, guys. Bear with me for just a moment. Black played a captures on b4 somewhere. Rook b2, king e6. So a5, where was a5 played is the question. a5. Where was a5 played? Oh, a5 was played after king to d2. Wow, all the way back here. King to d2. Rook a e1, and king to f8 was not played in this position after rook from a to e1. It was a5. Okay, guys, so let's continue from here. Thank you for being patient, and let's continue with the rest of this video. I know that took a moment. Now let's play rook to a1, and now king to f8. Okay, just kind of backtracking a little bit. Now we have g4. Okay, g6. This is how the game went now, guys. h4, h5. Okay, g takes h5, g takes h5, rook from h to g1, and now king to f7. Okay, knight to h3. Let's continue. d4, very similar to the line we just went over now. C captures on d4, e captures on d4, knight g5 check, the intermezzo, king to e7, e captures on d4, and king to d6, no problem. knight f7 check, bothering the king again. But as we mentioned, the blunder, not recognizing the bishop on f7. Now we have moved past move 30, guys. Let's go rook to g5. The game was not resigned here by Team White. Now a captures on b4. This is where we left off. Rook captures on f5. This is going to finish the story. Rook to e7 now by David. Just good prophylaxis and defending. Rook f6 check. King to d7 going backwards. Rook to e1, now offering an exchange of rooks. And after rook to e1, first b captures on a3 and king to c2. King is trying to run over to the side pawn on the a file to defend. So king to c2 and rook takes on e1. That drops the defense of the e1 rook. Rook takes on f7 check, and rook to e7 now blocking. Rook to f1 going back. Now white must defend. King to d6, now back to walking the king up the board there. Says David, now is the time. Rook to a1, and now king to d5. The d4 pawn is probably going to get lost here, I would imagine. After king to d4, king to d5 rather, king to b3, and now king takes on d4, rook takes on a3, rook takes on a3, king takes on a3, forced line, and now comes c5, double exclam. The game is ending shortly. King to b3, c4 check, king to c2, and king to d3, king to c1, and rook to h2. Rook to h2 was played in the game. Rook e1 check. Okay, so there's a line here. I just kind of messed it up here, and guys, in the notation, but there is a checkmate that black gives in this position. And so David's gonna walk his king over here, and he's going to give checkmate. It was rook h1 checkmate, but it's a similar concept. So David made it on h1, and it was the same position. But here's what we reached after the notation, which wasn't quite so accurate, but guys, we get the point. So this checkmate with the h1 checkmate was over the board, and David's opponent allowed him to checkmate, which is pretty respectful. Losing with dignity, it's good stuff. And David came through with another nice result for ISV Chess today. By the way, at round 9, everybody finished with a result. So 4-0 against Comoros. And we have 2 more rounds to go. The next round is against Democratic Republic of the Congo. And let's go ISV team. Let's finish strong in the last 2 rounds. I'll cover some more games from this round probably, and then get ready for the PGN threads for the next game. And we'll go over those guys. Congratulations, David, on your second game. And 2 more rounds, like we said, guys. Go kick some butt out there. That's enough for me, guys. Take care. And good luck to everyone with your chess online and over the board today. Thanks, guys. Take care, and bye-bye for now.